Hey guys, it's Quinn. In episode 14 of the Fundraising series, we're going to be taking a look at a film which just has no business being only in the comedy category, 2018's Game Night. Game Night stars Jason Bateman as Max and Rachel McAdams as Annie in a film about a group of adults whose love for games gets pushed to the limits when Max's brother Brooks, played by Kyle Chandler, gets them roped into a real-life kidnapping mystery. I'll discuss the characters themselves because there's a lot to get into there in its own right, but first let's talk about just the insane storyline in this film. Just at a high level, the story itself is something of a trope within itself. The idea of a bunch of people going to a murder mystery role-playing party and then a murder actually happening, I think is one of the most basic plot lines in fiction. However, this movie is just fucking insane because it's branded as a comedy through and through. I remember deciding to not see this movie when it came out because I thought it would be the exact plot that you would imagine when you see a murder mystery. However, just imagine that rough concept and it being forced to turn into a comedy, and you end up with a film that I think makes you simultaneously incredibly anxious while also breaking it with laughs. I remember noting that after watching this film, that Game Night was one of the most stressful films I've seen in a long time. The reason I make that claim is because you're simultaneously being forced to be serious because of what's going on in the film, while also just being whiplashed by, I think, things that were actually genuinely funny. If you've ever seen the new Joker film, there's a scene where someone gets killed, and then the Joker does something funny that just cuts the tension in the room in half. That's what this entire film felt like. Not, I would say, uncomfortable in terms of tone, but somewhere veering near being awkward while also still being funny. And I think this is completely reinforced by the just ensemble of characters that you have here. Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams effectively play the exact same character here, and I have heard arguments that they are miscast for the roles, but I genuinely disagree. Bateman pretty much plays just a coked up version of his character Michael from Arrested Development here, and honestly I think that's the energy you need to bring. McAdams does the exact same thing. Brooks, however, he feels slightly off as a character for me. Those that have seen the film can understand where I'm going with this, but spoilers aside, I think his character, he feels a little too sleazy from the get-go. I think if you have toned him down just a half peg, make him wear a t-shirt, have his hair less gelled up maybe, just take him down a notch, and I think it would be enough. It's hard to put into words, but his character feels just a little off from the beginning, which I think makes the plot a lot more predictable than it should have been. Again, it's a murder mystery of sorts, and the way his character presents himself early on, I think, takes some of the mystery away from it. The rest of the ensemble, though, Christ, where do you begin? Every other character in this film is effectively comedy relief, with the exception of the aforementioned characters who are really the only plot drivers in this film. The jokes that this ensemble make, I think, are really repetitive just because of how one-dimensional they are. To be fair, I think the repetitive jokes that they do make, they are really funny. Billy Magnuson's character Ryan, he's the dumb guy, and they just harken in on that to an excessive degree, but it leads to a weird idea where 50% of the time you want to punch the guy, but 50% of the time he is the funniest part of the scene. I guess the big complaint I have, though, is that all the jokes that happen, they're not like knockout funny. They're sort of average just because the characters themselves are, again, one-dimensional, so there's really not much meat on the bone in terms of the kind of humor you can make with them. This film is really difficult to summarize. There's so many contradictory moments and parts that it's frankly unbelievable. There's around a 10-minute stretch in the final third of the film where you're laughing and just screaming, what the fuck's going on? The exact same way that Boris is near the end of GoldenEye. All of the characters are really one-dimensional, but I think they serve their purposes well. The story's wild because the tone is one that, frankly, you can't put into words. It's like watching a train just barreling down the track, and the person that's about to get hit is someone who's doing a stand-up routine. It'll make you anxious, yet you're going to be laughing at the same time in just a weird kind of way. So to help resolve a lot of these just weird, contradictory moving parts, I've decided to make a really simple rating system. There are 3 tiers. The lowest level is simply don't watch the movie. The second level is watch it if it's on Netflix. And then the final level is go out of your way to watch it. And if I had to give it a ranking, I would cautiously say go out of your way to watch it. For it's one of the craziest viewing experiences I've had in a while. Even if a lot of the reasons that make it crazy are not necessarily positive ones. This video was sponsored by a resident of London, England. This channel is committed to giving every American an equal opportunity in this country, which is why all proceeds will be donated to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. If you're interested in sponsoring a future review video, please feel free to fill out the poll in the description below. Thank you for watching, and remember, black, white, left to right, we're all in this together. I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.